Welcome guys again. It's a Monday analysis. We had a crazy weekend this week, this last weekend, but we're back again on Monday with another video, another analysis, about African economy. So we're gonna be analyzing the economy of Congo. Gonna go into a little bit of details about economy of Congo. It's actually pretty sad, when you look into what is happening in Congo right now. So Congo has a proven reserve of natural resources. They have about $24 trillion, right? So $24 trillion in proven natural resources, but the country is still poor. So we're gonna go into those information. We need to find out why in this country not progressing and now developing, right? So as you know, we're gonna discuss about productivity of Congo. Why is the Congo producing, and what is Congo is importing, and we're gonna talk about the people of Congo. We're going to discuss about Congo politics, and we're going to discuss about how can you set up shops in Congo, the ease of doing business in Congo, and we're going to close with where to invest your money in Congo. All right, so one thing I got to tell you is if you want to make money in Congo, you have to be a stand-up man. You have to be ready to put your feet on the ground and go get the money. It's not for weak men. Congo is not for weak men. If you're weak, you're not going to get nothing. Okay, so the geographical location of Congo is more like East Central Africa, locations. It has access to port by west in Atlantic Oceans, so you can easily import product in Congo through the port. So I know, but the problem is you cannot really move the product within the Congo. There's no infrastructure to move stuff from Kinshasa to Lubumbashi or from Lubumbashi to Goma. It's really hard to move stuff in Congo. Matter of fact, sometimes you have to pass in Rwanda to actually go to another city in Congo. So you have to put that in your head too. The language spoken, the national language over there is French and Lingala. And then they have other tribal languages over there, right? So the other thing you have to know is the culture of Congo. You have to dance with your waist. You have to wind your waist a little bit. So that's how they dance. Men and women, they do all the same stuff. So one of my favorite things to do. So then we talk about the colonial history. So the Congo was colonized by German before the World War II. Then after the World War II, they took away German. They took away Congo from German and they give to the Belgium. So the Congo population is the biggest in East Africa at 96 million. 96 million, it may be not actually correct number because Congo doesn't really do, they don't really count their population. I don't think they do the right thing to do it. So the number may be well over 100 million, but right now the number they're reporting is 96 million people. So either way, they're still the biggest market in East Africa right now as we speak. So the president of Congo, the guy who was the president before, his name was Joseph Kabila. And now they moved to the guy, his name is Felix Tshisekedi. So I don't know if I pronounced the right way, but hey, if you're Congolese and I pronounced your present name bad, make sure you go in a comment and put it down there. You know what I mean? So let me know what's up because I may be not really good at pronouncing that name. So let's go now talk about one of my favorite topics every time I do economic analysis is the productivity, because I want to know how productive is people. How are people producing? What are they producing? So Congo GDP is 55 billion. Bro, how can you have $24 trillion in proven reserve and your GDP is 55 billion? Your GDP, Kenya GDP is like almost 6 times Congo GDP. Imagine that, bro. And how can Tanzania GDP be bigger than the Congolese GDP when the Congolese has all the resources? But we're going to talk about that too. So the GDP per capita, a Congolese person earns almost less than $2 a day. You know what I mean? Less than $2 a day. So the GDP per capita is about $576. And then the sixth in the region, only ahead of Burundi. So Congo and Burundi, they're like competing for the poorest country in East Africa right now. And it's really sad, man, to look at it. So let's see what they export. What does Congo export, right? I want you to pay attention because most of the time You know, you may live in a country, but you may not know what's your country producing. You may not know who is getting all the money in your country is producing. So the export product of Congo right now, the number one product exporting is the refined copper. I was actually very surprised that they're actually refining copper in Congo. And they're making about $8.9 billion every year exporting copper. So Congo, you know, the economy should be better because they're already producing some good product. But corruption, you know what I mean? Another thing you need to know is this copper, they be sold to Chinese companies. Most of this money just go back to China. It never come back to Congo. They just come and extract, refine, and sell to China, and you never get a penny. So that needs to change. And also the second product that they're exporting is cobalt. Everybody knows about cobalt scandal right now. A lot of kids being, forced to work in the mines. Child exploitation is going right now. A lot of people that are dying in the mine mining the cobalt, and nobody's really paying attention. So the Congo made about $4.4 billion in a cobalt export. But you have to remember the guys who are running the cobalt export is not a Congolese company. It's actually a company which owned by a Jewish guy. I forgot the name. He's a Jewish guy who is the biggest exporter of cobalt, right? So, hey, I have nothing against Jewish people. I'm just saying that's the guy who is running the company. I may actually find the name later on. And actually, they did plead guilty for exploiting children in Congo. So then the third product they export is a raw copper, and they do about $779 million. You know what I'm saying? And then they do copper ore, $618 million. And then they do crude oil, they do $582 million. This is the country where you're going to see all these big numbers, right? Countries doing like $8 billion, they do $4 billion, they do $500 million. But where is the money going? Because people in Congo that are living below $1 per day, they can't make ends meet. You know what I mean? You only have about $577 a year everybody earns on average. But there's all $8 billion from refining copper going, Chinese company taking that. There's a $4.4 billion, the Jewish guy taking that. There's a $779 million in the raw copper, Chinese taking that. There's a $618 million from copper oil. Then there's almost more than $500 million on crude oil. Who's getting all this money? Who? You know what I mean? And this is one thing you guys gotta always pay attention, man. You know what I mean? We're getting robbed on a daily basis. So make sure you click the link below and actually join my groups. We have a group chat. We're gonna be talking about all this few stuff and actually how you can also benefit from our own resources in Africa, not just sit and wait and see the Western people taking your money. All right, so the import product is very important because it gives you an idea of what the country is buying. So from there on, as an entrepreneur, you can see what the country is lacking and you can produce them. So they're importing refined petroleum of $406 million. You have to remember this guy, they're already exporting $582 million of crude oil, and then they're importing a refined oil of $406 million. So which means that's already an open opportunity. They're not refining any oil. So if you go in there and refine all that $582 million they're already exporting, now you can actually earn all that money. Matter of fact, you can actually satisfy the entire country based on that demand today. So they talk about it. They're also importing trucks. And I don't know why these people are importing trucks, bro. You know what I'm saying? Every country that has walls, they're always importing trucks, Toyota trucks, for to use it for war. You know what I mean? Put a machine gun on Toyota trucks and start shooting people, man. But so they're spending over $250 million, $255 million every year importing trucks. What these trucks doing, man? Carrying all the resources, carrying all your money, bro. If you're a Congolese, please, I would be mad. I'm mad as fuck. I'm mad about this thing, right? And I can't really sleep about this. So I want you to take action right now and join my group chat. I'm gonna leave the link to my group chat and make sure you join so we can talk about these issues and find some solution. So the Congo also is importing a lot of medicine. We already know there's a lot of problem with illness in Congo. There's a war. There's people who are lost their legs. There's all this kind of stuff happening, and they're spending about $554 million every year importing medicines. And another thing you cannot forget about Congolese people, they like meat too much. These people, they eat meat a lot. And they're spending $215 million every year importing meat, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Congo has the biggest land, the best land to glaze the cow on, the best land to raise cow chicken. Why you gotta import meat? Why can't you raise the cow in Congo, bro? We have the best land in Congo. Why do we have to import meat from a country which doesn't even have a good land? So, if you're an entrepreneur, you can actually go in a farming and you start producing meat. You start raising cows on an industrial level. And if you're gonna do that, make sure you contact me because I may help you out. So number 2, the last one, they're importing machineries. So this machinery they're importing, they usually use to dig more natural resources. So that's the only reason why they want to import machineries. So they are spending about $170 million every year importing machineries. So let's look into their money. So Congo currency is called Congolese francs. Inflation is about 90%. It's not really that bad, but Congo currency lost the value. They practically use US dollars over there. The interest rate is about 8.50%. Means if you get your money, and if you want to raise money from Congo banks, you're going to pay about 8.50%. But you may not actually be able to access the money because there's no banks like accessible like that. Banks are in Kinshasa. If you get out of city, there's no banks. If you want to bank your money, you bank under the pig stomach, something like that. Or you get a piggy bank, you know what I mean? So let's move to the Congolese people, man. My favorite people, my people. I love this, man. You know what I mean? I love it. So when you start dancing with your waist, you know what I mean? Put me down to the waist. Yo, bro. I love my people, man. Love it. All right, so unemployment rate is about 5.4%. It's a lie. I don't believe it. I think it probably is like 50% or 80% because there's no way a country we have the GDP per capita of 577, which is below poverty line, and you tell me that the unemployment rate is only 5.4%. You lying. So anyway, the cost of living in Congo, there's not real official numbers, but you can find some numbers over there. The house is going to run you about $250 a month. The food, you're going to spend about $150 a month. Transportation will be like $45 a month. The energy bill is going to be like $25 a month. So I assume this is like Kinshasa prices. So that's the medium life, living of, in Congo, in Kinshasa. So you're going to be spending about something like $600 a month just to survive in Kinshasa. But that is kind of a little bit lower life, man. So most people, they live below that. So one of the most sad information you can look is the life expectancy of Congolese. It's pretty sad because a lot of people, a lot of kids get forced into labor, when they're still young. They don't make it. They don't become old. There's a lot of wars going on. So the life expectancy of Congolese is about 60 years old, a little bit above of South Sudan, which is about 55 years old. So somebody in Congo is expected to live 5 more years than a South Sudanese. The average age is about 17 years. So if you live in Congo, most people in Congo are going to be about 17 years. As I said before, the average age can be a good thing or can be a sad stuff. Well, if somebody is 17 years on average the whole entire country, it may means people, they're not really getting old. They're not making to the 50. They're just dying, or they're being forced in the war, or they're being died through the poverty. They just die on already. You know what I mean? Then they keep giving birth to the young people. They never grow older. So make sure, you do a little bit of a digging. The number can be good, can show that there's a good future by a lot of young people. Also can be a sign that people are dying too early, right? So the labor market, practically non-existence. There's not really institution which has enough resources to actually calculate these numbers. So now we're going to talk about the political system. African political system is always funny, bro. They always say we have a democracy, But but is it really a democracy? Like let's talk about it, right? So Congo even went to the biggest extent what they call themselves a democratic country of Congo. They even added democracy in the country name. You know what I'm saying? But is really Congo a democracy? Let's be honest, man. And listen, by the way, I'm not really a supporter of democracy either. I don't think democracy is a universal system of governing. I think democracy sometimes may not be a good option for the country. So I think Congo may switch from a democracy to a different system because it doesn't look like it's working. Maybe go to one party state. You have one party with the smart people and they do good planning of the country. So the political system is a democracy, but it's not really a democracy. So, and if you're a Congolese president, don't kill me. I'm just saying, it does not look like a real democracy. Number one, more over 60% of the people in Congo, they cannot vote. You know how? They cannot access the ballot box. They live in a place where there's no road, there's no electricity, there's no way to get the ballot box. There's no way they're gonna vote. You know what I mean? So even if you're getting people to vote, it's gonna be people like in Kinshasa, Lubumbashi, Bukavu, Buvira, Goma, the big cities. You know what I mean? It's not really gonna be people in the villages, right? So I'm gonna leave right there. The conflict history of Congo is really bad to this day. There's still a war for over 40 years. When I was talking about this the other day with my friend, his name is Power, and he was saying like Congo has been at war for 40 years, and the Western country don't want to see peace in Congo. You know what I mean? They want to just keep ruining stuff. But at some point we need to stop blaming Western countries, and blaming our leaders. Sometimes we need to stop blaming ourselves. You know what I mean? At some point, because as soon as we put in our head that, hey, Western countries, America doesn't want us to have peace, Europe doesn't want us to have peace, then we remove the possibility of ourselves finding peace ourselves. You know what I mean? Because now if you ask somebody, hey, why do we have a war in Congo? Oh, American people, bro, they are fighting over there. Why do you have a war in Congo? Well, French. So now there's nobody's thinking about the solution because you already accepted a defeat. So at this point, we need to start, thinking about how we're going to bring the peace by ourselves. That do we need to take a guns? We can arm ourselves, but we need to start talking about that. We need to take the situation back in our control instead of leaving to the Western powers to do whatever they want to do with it. And also number two, I want to talk about MONUSCO. MONUSCO is the United Nations military, which was sent to Congo like 20 years ago to bring peace. There's no peace to this day. Matter of fact, I was talking to my pastor the other day. My pastor said that MONUSCO been stealing the gold. They've been stealing gold. They've been stealing the raw material, actually shipping them to France, shipping them to America and stuff like that. So maybe the first step should be to remove the United Nations military out of Congo, and maybe to use East African military in Congo to bring peace, because it does not look like it's working, right? And also the funny thing is, the pen holder of the agreements between Congo and United Nations peacekeepers, the pen holder is France. France is the one which is signing these agreements, you know what I'm saying, to bring the United Nations to Congo. So as a Congolese, we need to start thinking about like, maybe this didn't work. Maybe democracy is not the best option. Maybe the United Nations peacekeeping, we don't need them anymore. Maybe we need to bring our friends from South Africa, from Zimbabwe, from Burundi, from Tanzania, from Kenya to come and actually bring stability back in Congo. Because if Congo is doing great, everybody in the region will do great. And I'm saying if Congo is doing not great, everybody is going to suffer. So we need to start thinking about bringing the solution by ourselves. Anyway, let's move on. The corruption index of Congo is about 19 out of 100. Terrible. Actually, there's a big documentary about Joseph Kabila, how he stole so much money by selling the minerals to the Chinese. So you have to understand that Joseph Kabila did a lot of bad deals selling the minerals to the Chinese. Maybe all those contracts the Chinese has in Congo to control the copper, they need to be scrapped. You know what I mean? We need to stop branding. You know what I mean? They need to get kicked out, and we need to take the control back of their stuff, because the country was given out of corruption with Joseph Kabila, and it's proven. So let's go by now. Ease of doing business. You know what I mean? I don't know that much about doing business in the Congo, but I think it's a great place probably to do business in agriculture. But the corporate taxes is the lowest in East Africa at 28%. So the energy prices is the fifth lowest in East Africa at 0.085 cents per kilowatt. So you can actually we can really develop Congo in less than 10 years. You know what I mean? With the land that we have, the resources we have, the people we have, the energy prices, we have access to a lot of hydropower water. We can produce the most energy than any other country in the universe, and we don't even have to burn any coal. We don't even have to burn any fossil fuel or fuel. We can use our own hydropower. All the water we have, we can produce the massive energy that can be supplied across the region, right? So the property rights in Congo is pretty progressive. Anyone can buy land. Anyone can buy and own a land, and not non-discriminatory law. So anybody can go there and buy a land. Doesn't matter where you're from. So now we're gonna go. One of my favorite part I always like to look at is where to invest your money in Congo. So Hear me out, right? So Congo is very a little bit unsafe, but Congo is still the best place to put your money, time, investment if you're looking for the best return. So number one, I will look at the export. They're exporting over $4 billion of cobalt. That's it's a good business if you go into cobalt processing. We need to process cobalt in Congo. We need to build a factory that produces phone batteries in Congo. We need to build the phone companies, the company that produce phones. They need to be in Congo. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of opportunity because all the natural resources we need to produce phones and phone industry is in Congo. All the natural resources we need to produce the batteries for phones, for electric cars are in Congo. So if you are an entrepreneur and you are an engineer, I think you should be looking into establishing your business in Congo if you're into energy producing, right? So the other thing you should look into is the food. The population of Congo is expected to reach 300 million people by 2050. So right now, if you start into food processing, probably gonna have a better business. You know what I mean? Also, you can sell the food into other East African members. There's no taxes, cross-border trade. So you have about a market of at least almost 1 billion people by 2050. So the other thing you should be looking into is copper processing, maybe processing the coppers. The other thing you should look into is medicine and also machineries. If you're an engineer, if you're like a mechanical engineer, you should look into creating machines to farm, to dig, in Congo. So I think the Congo is probably the best, the least country or the best country, which is the least exploited in terms of Africa themselves go out there and make money. And we should start looking into how we can actually go over there, compete with, even kick these people out, man. Kick the Chinese out, bro. Kick the white people out, bro. You know what I'm saying? We can do this. So if you are Congolese or you are African entrepreneur and you want to know how we can make money in Congo, make sure you go in the descriptions, click the link, join my group. Let's start talking about how we're gonna rescue Africa from the parasites, man. So thank you again for spending some time with me this Monday. I'm out. See you next time.